Have you ever heard of thanking someone for your execution? Welcome to Imperial China. Back in the day, if the emperor decided you had to go, sometimes he wouldn't send the executioner with an axe. Instead, he'd graciously send you poison wine or a silk rope. To put it nicely, you were being granted rest. Sounds fancy, right? Almost like winning a prize. Except the prize is a cold box 6 feet under. But here's the real fun part. If you were on the receiving end, you were expected to bow, smile, and say, "Thank you, Your Majesty." So why on earth would anyone do that? Let's break it down. Reason number 1, to protect the family. If the emperor wanted you gone, that was bad. But if you mouthed off on the way out, that could be a disaster for your whole family. Ancient Chinese rulers had the power over life, and not just yours, but your kids, your cousins, grandkids, grandparents, basically the entire extended family tree. So, if you politely thanked the emperor, chances are your relatives would get to keep their heads attached. If you didn't, well, the emperor might just decide to trim the family tree. So saying thank you wasn't really about gratitude, it was about survival. Reason 2, it's the luxury execution experience. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying drinking poison is exactly pleasant. Some poisons cause stomach cramping, body twisting agony, heart attacks, vomiting. It was a rough way to go. But compared to other methods, it was basically a spa day. Because the alternatives were not exactly rated E for everyone. Well, they were, but not in a good way. Beheading could go one way or the other. Sometimes it was very quick and clean, and sometimes it wasn't. If they used a dull blade, it could end up like cutting a tomato with a hammer. Or worse, the 1,000 cuts method. That was exactly what it sounds like. Shredded like a cat's old scratching post. And then there's being pulled apart by horses. Ever pulled a wishbone from a turkey? Imagine getting to experience it from the wishbone's point of view. So when the emperor said, "I'll let you drink poison instead," that was actually considered merciful. You were still doomed, but at least it was quick and somewhat dignified. Reason number 3, it's kind of an honor. Not everyone got the drink poison or hang yourself options. Commoners, forget it. They got the messy stuff. The privilege of being granted rest was reserved for the elite. The scholar, officials, aristocrats, so-called gentlemen. The logic was, you served the state, you're a man of rank, so we'll let you go with a little dignity. Regular folks got the chopping block, the elites got a cup of special wine. Cheers. And because honor and reputation meant everything to these officials, some of them genuinely saw it as the final badge of status. The emperor respects and trusts me enough to let me do it myself. Not the kind of compliment I'd like, but to each their own. So was anyone actually thankful? Of course not. Nobody wakes up saying, "Gee, I hope I get poisoned by lunchtime." But when your whole family's safety, your reputation, and your final few minutes of dignity depend on it, you smiled, bowed, and thanked the emperor even as you swallowed the poison. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is why in Imperial China, an execution sentence came with a thank you card.